Hello, and welcome to the Accelerate Asset Information Management session presentation. Today I want to talk about the benefits and value that a digital twin brings to an immersive digital operation. My name is Cindy Stevens. I'm the Director of Product Management for Asset Information at Bentley Systems. Our AssetWise ALIM, which is Asset Lifecycle Information Management Solution, is used globally by organizations such as oil and gas, rail, utilities, mining, petrochemicals, and manufacturing to solve four typical problems. The first is an engineering document register, where we manage the document records and the attributes of those records together with the files associated with those records. We often implement a tag register. The tag register represents the functional needs for pieces of equipment in a location. For example, of a pump that needs to deliver a particular pressure, or a signal on a railway in order to control the freight traffic. Linked to a tag is what we know as an asset or a piece of equipment that may be configured to provide the function that exists in that tag register. Of course, the final and critical area is to ensure the integrity of this information. AssetWise ALIM provides comprehensive business change management and configuration management capabilities to ensure that changes to any of the information managed in the system is appropriately reviewed, approved, and executed in a controlled way. This ensures that the quality of the information is maintained and the integrity of the information is maintained. The industry obviously talking about digital twin workflows extensively, and the most common representation of a digital twin is typically shown to be visual. But of course, a digital twin involves extensive information that sits behind those visualizations that work across an entire life cycle of an asset, whether you're planning a new asset, designing one, or taking analysis. These all rely on information that is part of the digital twin and enables you to update that digital twin in a controlled way all the way through construction and into operation. The big element with the digital twin is that it is being maintained throughout operations. AssetWise ALIM supports that, and by adding in the visualization capabilities, we have this additional visual context and this new way of navigating and finding the information in a much more familiar way. So in this presentation, I will focus on the operations phase only and imagine that we're working with an existing asset in an operational plan on a day-to-day basis. To do that, I want to look at these use cases. I want to look and dip into some simple visualization. I want to show how we can expand and build on that to provide operational information, and how you might use it as part of a familiarization process for new workers or unfamiliar workers that are unfamiliar with a particular location. I want to step back and show how visualizations and how we can link that information we have into a more traditional reporting. So for each of these, I'm going to step through a simple use case and give a brief demonstration and then step on to the next. So really, what am I to do to start with this is just show an example of a user using the system in order to step through, find some information that they're looking for about a particular asset in the site, and then say, I'd like to see that asset, and navigate some further information from there. So here we have AssetWise ALIM interface. We're going to search for a pump. That is PP3101. It gives the functional information of the centrifugal pump. And here we are immediately given the tag information, so you can see there's lots of attribution about that tag that's available, as well as the related information. We can then also see the history of this tag and what equipment has been installed in there, as well as the auditing that has gone into the updates. But what's most importantly, we're going to go and see this asset from a visual standpoint within the model. So we've loaded the model and we zoom right into that asset. We can see it highlighted, and it's possible to work around the model and click on other assets. So for example, now that selected this pump, you could see again the asset and attribution information on the right. So a very, very simple example of how easy it is to navigate to a piece of equipment and view that piece of equipment in the context of an engineering model. The next level is seeing the operation data in context of the 3D model. The operational data includes the parameters of the assets, the documentation related to the assets for defining and maintaining that asset, as well as the planned changes. The visualization capabilities with the AssetWise ALIM system gives us these additional functionalities. This time, I'm going to start with the model, and the model shows the tags associated to it. We're opening the viewer to give the immersive visualization for the assets in that model. And we will start out with seeing the full model, and then we'll zoom into the area where the same pieces of equipment are located that we were looking at before, and select a pump. On the right side, we can see all the asset functional information for the equipment, such as the flow rate, and in the panel at the bottom you can see the documents that are related to the equipment which are needed to operate and maintain the equipment. And for viewing the documents associated to the equipment, we can easily navigate to ALIM and access the document and see the details. And going back to our digital twin, we can also see the proposed changes for the asset. When we click on the change request, we can easily navigate back to AssetWise ALIM to see the full details of the change package that includes the asset's changes. We also have the ability to superimpose. We call it picture-in-picture. The capability to take other views of this particular asset. In this case, we've got a P&ID, so we can see a schematic of where this asset fits in the overall system. To see the asset listing related to the P&ID drawing, we can leverage the visual filters. And talking about the visual filters, let's go back to the full screen view and look at some of these filter capabilities. The referenced on P&ID filter provides the visibility and listing of the assets associated to the P&ID drawing. We can see from the details of the asset that we select, as well as we could search on some. We could do the reverse and also see which ones are not on a P&ID or associated to a P&ID and see those details. Another filter that I'd like to highlight is the operational status filter. With this filter, you can see the asset status in a visual context. This is helpful when you are working and planning in a specific area of the facility. It provides you the quick visual assessment of the equipment and determining what changes may be pending, as well as seeing the equipment detailed information. With having this non-graphical information easily accessible in your digital twin, it provides a holistic view of your operational information necessary for doing your job. So you can see how this visualization can quickly become the central focus of finding out a lot of relevant information about a particular selective asset within your site. Obviously, having a 3D visualization gives a lot of power and a lot of insight into what an unfamiliar worker or specialist contractor might encounter when visiting a location. But actually, there's a growing trend across many industries to reduce manpower, to put people out of harm's way. It's a very significant safety improvement, and many sites are becoming unattended. Therefore, the need for infrequent maintenance, occasional visits, these are all driving a need to be able to do familiarization in a much safer way. And of course, the 3D view gives us that powerful capabilities to visualize and see the facility without actually visiting the facility. It's actually from the safety of your own desk. It can provide a lot of context, not just to prepare for the specific work, but to see what other conditions you might encounter when you are undertaking that work in the surrounding area of an asset. A very simple example is using the model to measure the distance and clearance between two other components for maneuvering a new piece of equipment that may be installed. In this instance, I want to show you how we can use a reality modeling technology with the immersive visualization to actually give you a very clear representation of the actual site. We're zooming in. It's the same model we were looking at before with the reality model as a mesh, and we immediately see when zooming in further the same pump. When we select the pump, we can see the attribution and the related information. And we have access to the same 3D model of that pump as an alternative view. And then this enables us to link the 3D view to the reality. And obviously, if you're planning some work in this area, you can immediately see and understand the access requirements, whether it's scaffolding or a route or a new piece of equipment. Here we're using some very simple tooling to measure the distance between the tops of these two tanks, but it could be between two pumps. This shows us we have a 20-foot spacing between the tanks, and we could be measuring the distance between a walkway, for example, to enable you to determine whether a piece of equipment could fit, or you could determine if temporary scaffolding will fit in a tight area to lift and place new equipment. The use of reality model gives us a completely immersive experience for an unfamiliar operator, while the hotspots give an operator the access to the detailed information about the equipment that you can see. Very much the best of both worlds. You can see that an unfamiliar operator who hasn't visited the site before could be able to get themselves very, very familiar with all the aspects of this facility. It's worth noting, you can start small with simple overview or a section of your facility, have success with digital visualization and work processes, and then repeat and expand. So immersive visualization is able to take advantage of the reality model from the context capture capability that Bentley offers. And even when you don't have an engineer model, you can get a very realistic representation like this. Immersive visualization provides the powerful operational data context for managing and planning work on site, and geographically being able to see it visually. This capability is instrumental for making informed decisions, so when work is undertaken, it is done in an efficient manner and safe way, such as changes in a confined space, or it's a tag out or lockout procedure needed to isolate critical pieces or equipment to work on. It's important that we don't only focus on these 3D graphics. The concept of a digital twin is much richer than just the 3D graphics. In the classic iceberg, the graphics are the visible part of the top, but there's a huge amount of information underneath that visualization, and quite a lot of that is best represented using some traditional reporting, and more importantly now dashboards and interactive querying and reporting can be done with our standard dashboard reports and leveraging Microsoft Power BI for detailed site-specific reports, for example. Traditional reporting has a key role in tracking progress and monitoring ongoing performance, and enables you to uncover a lot of insights into your own data. I want to show you our standard dashboard reports. Access from either the person icon at the top or from the dashboard reference card. The documents chart has a quick way to represent the document statuses. They have approved in the status of what those documents are, as well as the ability to group them differently by project, organization, or change. And it gets updated immediately to show you the different views of those document statuses from the different viewpoints. You also have that ability for tags, and you can export that chart to PDF for being able to preserve it or share it with others outside the system. And with the change requests report, we also have it by type, status, and requester. So you can see that high level of statuses of the changes that are going on in your system. You also have the ability to be able to expand the reports and get the full listing. With the filters along the top allows us to drill down by project, organization, and change request. We can see how to track that progress of an organization's deliverables by project. You can be applying these different filters and selecting it and being able to export that data to Excel for further analysis or create a permanent record or to share with others. Within the report, you can see the context of it all. Is it under change? What organization is it with? And then you also have the ability to hyperlink back into ALIM Web to be able to see the detailed information about that document. And going back to the charts and keeping the project filter, and with changing to an organization grouping, we can quickly see the top organizations delivering documents for a project. And then for the tags chart, we can also export to Excel. And when we open that up, we can see the context and the relationships to those tags. Let's go back to AssetWise ALIM. In this overview, you can see the standard dashboard reports are a key role in tracking progress and in monitoring ongoing performance. When more detailed dashboard reports are desired, Power BI can be leveraged to give further insights with a quick access link in Explorer or the reference card. For example, in opening up a tag completeness report that's built in Power BI, we can see that the interactive querying and reporting dashboard is broken out by types of equipment and different systems. We also have an example here of a tags referenced on a PNID, where you could just click on a type and then you can see what systems that type is in, and then vice versa, you can go on a system and see what types are involved. With Power BI, it's possible as well to include the visualizations in the reports, and you can share the reports with others. So we mustn't forget these more traditional reports that are showing more numerical information about the progress of achieving a particular objective. So hopefully I've taken you through a story where we've used this immersive visualization to give much more operational and visual context, which started with a very simple visualization, moved on to show how we can add some context to enable you to use that model in a day-to-day operation of the plant, and then into areas about planning for work and conducting in an efficient and safe manner. Of course, we've then highlighted that it's not just about the 3D models. There are many more powerful visualizations such as the standard dashboard reports and leveraging Power BI, which can help find trends, meeting key objectives, and measure operational effectiveness, for example. So I hope stepping through these use cases has given you some insight to how the immersive visualization can add this context to a platform such as the AssetWise ALIM that's already existing and used by many people to manage and control their engineering information, and with the visualizations can make it much more accessible, much more natural to navigate. And hopefully you can see how you can apply this to your business, whether you're have an engineering model, or whether you need to create a reality model for using Bentley's context capture technology in order to give your users a familiar and easily accessible point for the engineering information and to support your operational decision making. The key point is getting started, realizing benefits of having visualization with contextual and controlled data that's outside the model, or under the iceberg data as we were talking about earlier, which enriches your digital twin and provides a holistic view when planning and executing work. Remember, start small, starting with something you have, achieve success, and grow from there. And now, when planning your digital twin strategy, remember that your digital twin is much bigger than the model. It's all about the information that represents your virtual site. With AssetWise, there's 4 key capabilities for obtaining your operational objectives in a digital twin. In this session, we covered AssetWise ALIM with visualization for managing and controlling the information that's in the model and beyond. With expanding into asset reliability, you optimize the actual performance of your equipment while reducing costs to get the business throughput that you need from a reliability perspective, to continuously beat that year after year with continuous improvement agenda while having it in context of your virtual or visualized plant and increasing safety and reliability and uptime. With having those bits working well individually as well as they can, expanding with operational insights ensures that your end-to-end plant is working and is operating well in the context of the entire business. Through analytics, you can gain insight on how to optimize and maximize efficiency, drive profitability, and minimize business risks. For example, with chemical management, you may need to control consumption of chemicals. You can optimize the chemicals that are going down in a well and then extracted later when analyzing that end-to-end process. Or analyzing how the weather patterns can be leveraged to optimize moving water flow. The digital twin gives this single view or location of visualization for your virtual site, having all the operational and external system information in context to make decisions quickly and accurately. An important part of realizing the digital twin strategy is maximizing the value and the benefits of your investment, making a journey towards going fully digital to your end users, your workers, and colleagues in your business. Think big, prove small, scale fast. Thank you very much for your time. Please do check out our other on-demand Accelerate webinars in the series.
If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. If you want to see more such series, consider subscribing to our channel. Thank you, and see you next time.